And it's been another week, but let's get right to it, because today we are going to talk about Greenlight from a guy who was there, from a guy who made it all the way through, and then the subsequent experiences he had screenwriting in Hollywood. And then we talk about a little bit about writing too. Marshall Mosley from the third season of Project Greenlight. So we're going to talk about writing in general, but if you don't mind, I'd love to kind of talk Greenlight with you for a little bit.
No problem at all.
You made it through all the rounds of Project Greenlight up until the final three. You were one of the final three of season 3.
Yeah, I was. They flew me down to L.A. and put us up in the Roosevelt Hotel.
Oh man!
And it was excruciating. I'd gotten some clear signs that I was unlikely to win, not because of quality of the screenplay. Everybody, I think, liked it, but because that season they were focused on a genre film.
Yeah. They
were focused on doing a horror film.
Right.
And that's what they ended up doing.
Yeah, Feast.
Yep. But it gave me, I met a lot of great people. I got an agent. I worked in Hollywood for like 2.5 years.
Oh, okay, wait. This is a huge... I want to take this beat by beat.
The way it worked was they had like 20,000, and then it dropped down to 5,000.
Yeah.
And then it dropped from 5,000 to, I think, to like 100.
Yeah.
And then I made the top 5, and I got a phone call, I believe, from Moore.
Chris Moore.
And then for the top 3, I got a phone call from Ben Affleck.
Well, I liked Wildcard before everybody tries to throw it out.
I've written a modern noir thriller about cops, grifters, victims. It is chock full of plot.
I think Wildcard is one of the better scripts as far as the writing quality. Hello?
So, Marshall, we're calling to tell you that we really like your script and you made the top 3.
Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Dude, that is so awesome. I know that Wes Craven was a judge.
I direct that movie. Yeah, it's good. It's a good movie.
They fly you out to LA. Do you have a day before you meet, or are you meeting on the first day?
It starts the first day.
Writers come in one at a time, sort of tell us why they wanted us to make their movie.
It was very intimidating and kind of rushed.
Walking into a room and having this kind of panel, it's got to feel incredibly nerve-wracking. I always feel for those guys in those situations.
That was not that stressful. And the reason it wasn't stressful is I totally knew the subject matter. They couldn't ask me a question that I couldn't answer.
Yeah.
My goal to them was, sitting there, was trying to convince them to pick the best script.
Yeah.
I was really impressed by your writing. I'll come out right out and say that.
Well, thank you.
It is probably the most different in the adultness of it and the sophistication.
I think Wildcard is a very subtle, interesting script that first-time directors just not going to do a good job with. Some of us at least felt that your script was better than the parameters that the Project Greenlight movie gets made under.
No, it's not, really. It's not. You're a talented guy. You understand how to tell a story in a smart way.
They weren't having it.
Well, I still think Wildcard is far and away from all of them. I can see your eyes twitching.
It is a tiny bullseye. Like if you're going after commerciality and sort of getting it, hitting it is small.
It's not purely about may the best script win.
It's definitely not that. Let me just say that
May the
unequivocally.
most commercial script win? Would that be the paradigm?
At the studio, what film do we feel we can make and market successfully?
We're going to try and make Feast. We're excited about it. Congratulations.
What really came out of it for me was like the next 2 years of traveling down there and going to meetings.
Yeah.
Pitch meetings. Pitch meetings are everything you've ever heard they are. You meet some really bright people who are really clear on what they want and understand film, and that's about 1 out of 10.
Sure.
Then you just meet a bunch of chuckleheads.
Sure. So Wes Craven, even after the ceremony, he bought Wildcard when Project Greenlight wasn't going to make it.
Right, he did. Okay. And that's part of the reason that it never got made.
Oh.
Which is nobody's fault. Wes Craven, right at this time, was under contract to Dimension,
yeah,
which was not owned by Disney yet. It was owned by
Miramax.
Yeah. So he was dealing with the Weinsteins, and he had made a movie called Cursed.
Oh, yeah, that was a disaster.
Right. He had been basically contractually compelled to completely recut the movie.
Yeah.
But he was real frustrated at it. And he actually invited me when I came down to talk about the screenplay with him. They were editing on the Disney lot.
Oh, no.
And he took me to the editing room.
That is so cool, dude.
You and I edit like at a computer with a mouse, and we have a timeline, and this was like in a small, it was in a theater. It was like maybe a 30-seat theater, like a viewing room theater. and he was standing in the glass-walled room behind it. Something would happen, and he'd say to someone next to him, "Roll that back, cut this," and he's like an orchestra leader, just talking the editing.
That's awesome.
But what happened is so he bought my script with discretionary money from his Dimension Films fund, right?
Yeah.
He had a development deal with them, and he could buy scripts, and he bought mine. And then like a month later, he had this giant falling out with them.
Oh, no.
Giant, and basically kind of walked away and never worked for Dimension or the Weinsteins again.
Did Dimension then own Wildcard?
That's right.
Yeah.
So it was orphaned.
Man, that is like a tale as old as time, sir. I can't believe that your script got just shelved in a falling out.
But the thing that really bothered me is it was a 8-year option, right? It was 4 years with an option for another 4 years.
Yeah.
And so 4 years later, the option's running out.
Yeah.
And I'm talking with my agent, and he's like, "Yeah, they haven't called me. I'm not going to call them. We'll let it expire and shop it around."
Yeah.
The day, like 6 hours, 5 hours before they had to notify my agent, they called him up and notified him.
No!
And here's a check. Thank you. That's a very nice check. But they just sat on a shelf again for 4 years. So yeah, I got it back. I have it back now.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. Do you think it still works 10 years later?
Yes, it does.
Nice.
I didn't put a lot of technology in it. There's not a lot of cell phones. There's not a lot of internet use.
Right.
When I wrote the screenplay, I was not writing it for Hollywood.
Yeah.
I was writing it because I'd found a book and read a book that was how to make a movie with $500,000. So I wrote the screenplay for me and my friends to make. So the screenplay had no water, no children,
no fire, no animals,
no fire, right? No animals. Guns never fired.
Right.
They were waved around, but back then they didn't have Adobe After Effects.
Yeah, the muzzle flashes for sure.
Yeah, it was meant to be made inexpensively.
Yeah, in going out to all your pitches and everything, and I assume you were still writing other original material.
I did rewrite work. I got confidential rewrite work.
Oh, really?
That's how I worked there for 2 years.
Did you like flat out move to LA at that point?
No, that was the thing. Was I was getting rewrite work, and it was maintaining and slowly going down because I didn't have a business card. I didn't have a film credit.
Right.
I had this come to Jesus moment where it was like, I either need to move to LA and do this,
yeah,
or stop doing this, because it's the travel and the time and everything was taking a toll on my family and on me, and my daughter at the time was in grade school.
Sure.
And it was like, I'm not gonna make her move. I'm not gonna make it. And so I backed away from it and went back to working in tech. And I started writing. My writing effort is more narrative fiction now.
Sure. How did you find the transition?
Well, I was writing narrative fiction before too.
Oh, okay. Before you were doing screenplays?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And it's been like since I was like 8.
Very different beast.
It's a very different beast. This is one of the things when you ask me what I wanted to discuss, I love mystery novels, I love science fiction novels, I love genre novels of all kinds. When you go from trying to tell a story like that, where you have to supply tons of detail, when you go to writing a screenplay, all you're doing is writing instructions for people.
Yeah.
They have to be as terse as they can be.
Yeah.
When they all come together, it needs to be a compelling story. Much more highly structured than narrative fiction is.
Oh, for sure. It's mostly stage direction and and just bolding the things that you need them to not skim past.
Mm-hmm.
There's not any desire to head back?
No, there is. There absolutely is.
But I mean, they're not making original stuff anymore. You'd be getting pulled in to write IP, bound in by a series of restrictions at the studio level that are meant to make things safer and more digestible to an international market and take out a lot of the complexities, which make complexities are the most interesting parts to many of the writers I know.
What you're talking about is the reason that so many big budget films are bad. This homogeneity. Like I saw Suicide Squad, and it was just, because I'm a huge comic fan from way back, and it was just so much squandered opportunity. Just because movies about broken people are much more interesting than movies about self-confident demigods. And that was a bunch of broken people.
Yeah, I also really appreciate you taking so much time to tell me about that amazing experience. Wes Craven buying your screenplay. It's incredible.
The thing that's incredible about it, when I think about what's incredible about it, is all the people I met afterward.
Yeah.
Those few days and meeting Wes Craven as an event, I'll never forget. But it's like, you know, going to meetings on the Disney lot, going to meetings at Universal.
Yeah.
You know, all these places in all my whole life, you know, watching movies, you sometimes see pictures of back lots and pictures of this and pictures of that. For the 2.5, almost 3 years I did it, that was, to me, the incredible part.
Yeah.
Those are the memories I'll take away. And some really good people.
So check out Marshall's blog if you want. It's a top link in the dubes today. Thank you so much to him for having the conversation with me. It was a lot of fun. All stuff I really engaged with a lot. I hope you guys have a good week. I will see you next Sunday. That's a Pops logo. That's my cat. Hope you guys have a good week. Catch you later.